Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Force here, concluding our Game of the Week coverage of Dark Souls. Now in this final video, I wanted to wrap up by giving you guys some of my final thoughts on the games after playing through it for the past week, and then also touch on some of my favorite aspects of this title. Now, if you haven't caught it in my prior videos within this Game of the Week series, I really like this game, and you know, for a lot of people it's going to be a herder moment. Oh, Force, this game's been out for 2 years, everyone knows it's great. You know, it does come down to preference. Some people don't enjoy this kind of game, but I've definitely found that the challenge in this game, the difficulty of it, and just the immersiveness of the world, and such an oppressive and interesting world as well, at the same time being themed, again, very dark and oppressive, turned out to just be a very immersive experience for me, and one that I quite enjoyed. Besides the challenge, just again the world that was crafted. You're gonna notice that little raven behind me. He's actually a huge raven, but so the first thing that I want to touch on in this game is just how amazingly immersive this world is. Now, you know, a lot of times when you're playing through games, you look in the background, you see these sweeping landscapes and these giant castles and things like that, but it doesn't mean much to you because that's just something that's in the background. Well, in this game, a lot of times, these really impressive structures, like this ginormous castle that you see behind me, they're actual real areas to explore within the game. In fact, right up over this wall, past that bridge and over the wall, that is the Undead Parish. And to get there, you literally walk up this path and across that bridge and then cross over into the giant castle. And then there's this whole additional area over there, and you're fighting various different enemies looking for objects, specific buffs. There's this like gold resin or something that's over there. It's actually really good for early game boss killing, dragon on a bridge, all sorts of things. But just the cool thing is that I look in the background, I see this very impressive structure, and it's not just something that I could think about going to and exploring. It's something that you actually get to go to and explore. So beyond that, I'd like to bring you to a couple of areas that I sort of found the most interesting, and one of them is actually right beneath the Firelink Shrine here. And this is an area that when I first experienced the game, this is one of the first places I went, and I got my ass handed to me. Because there are these ghost enemies down here that you actually can't engage with unless you are one of two things. You either need to be physically cursed, which is a debuff that you get in this game that actually cuts your health in half permanently until the curse is lifted, or you can use this item called the Transient Curse, which will temporarily give you the curse effects, which allows you to engage with these ghosts. So we are down here now in Anor Londo ruins. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Again, just as we touched on up there, I look in the background, I see this impressive structure. That's not just eye candy. That everything you see back, I can go there. I get to go there. I do go there, and I travel through that little mansion back there, that haunted mansion, and all these other very interesting things. And I'll just show you some of that briefly. We're gonna walk down over here. And so the first time I came across this bridge, it was a terrifying experience because it's not just a normal area and you think, oh, let me just move down here and I'm gonna fight these ghosts because I'm a baller and I can do that. No, the first time you move down here and you see these ghosts, you walk up to them and try to engage them, and you can do no damage to them. And they can still do damage to you. So it's like, what do I do? What the heck? And that's the sort of moment that I've had several times throughout the course of playing this game. What do I do? What the heck is going on? How am I supposed to, you know? And there's actually still an entire aspect of this area that I haven't completed yet, and that's draining this little flooded area. And there's even collectible objects over there and things like that. But yeah, you eventually figure out to engage that ghost. In fact, you get the item, which I can show you here. The Transient Curse. Temporary curse allows engagement with ghost. So there you go. It tells it basically right there in that one line of text. But a lot of times you even have to look a little bit further and read a couple of paragraphs to figure out what a lot of these objects actually do. So it requires you to really pay attention and not only pay attention to your surroundings, but pay attention to the items that you're picking up, take the time to read them and figure out any implications, and even just talking to NPCs. You know, you talk to them over and over again, going through different lines of dialogue, just to figure out what you're supposed to do in this game, because this isn't a game that holds your hand in any sense at all. It doesn't tell. It not only does it not tell you where to go and what to do, but it also doesn't even, for the most part, tell you how you should be fighting and engaging with enemies. Like, backstabbing is something you have to learn independently, and it's one of the best ways to fight enemies in this game. So briefly, quickly here, I'm going to bring you to just a couple more areas before we wrap up this video. But again, the point of this is, you know, just my final impressions. And you know, it's funny because in some of my past videos, I've got some complaints from people saying, "Oh, Force, we just want to see your first experience. And we just want to see you getting killed a million times." And I understand why that's appealing to people, especially for an old game that's been out for a long time. But that's not the point of this series. The Game of the Week series isn't to show you me trying and failing learning at a game. The point of the series is to touch on my playthrough as I spend time with the game, and then show off some of the parts of the game that I find interesting. So for some people, this will be of no interest to them because this is an older game. But I think for the people out there who haven't played this, which I know there are some, I was one of them up until 2 weeks ago. For the people who haven't played this, well, I think this will hopefully do a good job of showcasing some of the various parts of this title. Okay, so we are here now in Anor Londo. This is a stark contrast to really what the rest of the game shows. You know, the rest of the game, very dark and dismal, and many times just very difficult to see. Well, here in Anor Londo, when you first are actually brought to this area, you're heading up over the mountaintops, and you're brought into the sweeping city with the light peeking over the horizon and shining through the back of the buildings, and just a very beautiful looking place, again in contrast to some of the very dark areas that consist of most of the game. But at the same time that this place is beautiful, it's also maintaining that consistent level of oppressiveness, and it's got that feeling and vibe that the rest of this game has. And again, that was one of the primary reasons, or one of the primary things that I wanted to touch on in this final video, because it's one of the things that I liked the most about this game. It's that no matter where you are, even if it's a beautiful setting like this, you always feel like you are the small one in town. You always feel like you are not outnumbered, but outmatched. Again, even just this area, it looks beautiful, but look at these towering pillars and that gigantic castle that you do go to eventually. Again, this huge castle here, that's not just a backdrop, that's an area that you go to and you have a boss fight in. And even this little cathedral down over here to the left, you walk through there, you engage with enemies there, you try to survive in that location. Look at that castle up top, you know, same thing. You actually wind up that bridge over there through a path and through some hallways until you eventually get up there. I mean, this world is just so connected from one location to the other, and many times, no matter where you look, that's actually a place. Now, there's exceptions. You know, I can't go through each one of those individual huts all the way back there in the distance, but most of the time when you see something, it's actually a place that you can go to, and I just found that absolutely fantastic. Now, I actually can't take that fireplace that we just took to get back to where we were, so I am just going to die over here. And if you're wondering where a lot of the enemies are, because I've cleared this area already and I've been through this, many of the set piece enemies are gone. Now, basic enemies do respawn in this game, but like major enemies and mini bosses and things of that like, they do die permanently once you kill them. So I'm gonna die here, so we will be brought back to the last fireplace that I can actually port from, so I can show you just a few more of the areas that I really liked in this game. Alright, so here we are back at the Firelink Shrine. So we're going to go back to the bonfire here, and from here I would like to warp to... Let's go to one last place. Let's go to the Tomb of Giants. So the Tomb of Giants, first time you walk into this place, you can't see squat. Now I believe there are light spells within this game that you can cast, but beyond that, this is how you were walking through this area at first. Incredibly slowly, trying to hug the wall, trying to make sure you don't accidentally fall off of ledges like this one. There's some light off in the distance, but that doesn't really help you most of the time, because most of the time, you're just walking like this. And the worst part of it is that this entire area, when you initially arrive here, is infested with gigantic skeletons. Now, Luckily, you can pick up an object within this area, which I was able to find, and that is right up here. That's a skull lantern. And with the skull lantern, you are able to illuminate your way. At least a little bit more than normally, and see where you are and where the heck you need to go. And one of the really cool things too is that when in bringing up the skull lantern, it actually brings these little luminous parts right up on these walls over here. But you know, without that, you could accidentally walk into this guy. And he's not the kind of guy you accidentally want to walk into. Let me tell you that much. So yeah, in conclusion, after playing through this game for a week, and again, I'm pretty close to the end. I just need to kill, I believe they're called the Lords or something like that. I don't know. But I just need to kill a few final bosses and then the last boss, and then I'll be finished with this game. I gotta say, I'm really happy that people kept bugging me to play it, because this is now one of my favorite RPGs of all time. I think this game's absolutely fantastic, and if you have yet to get around to playing it, I think that you should make a serious effort to try to do so, because I absolutely, positively think that this is a must-play for anyone who is a real fan of RPGs. There's really no question about that for me. For that reason, I'm incredibly excited for Dark Souls 2 eventual release, which is supposed to happen, I believe, early next year, in the earlier part of the year. So that's when we're supposed to be getting that, and I can't wait. I think this game was fantastic. Loved playing through it for this past week. I'll probably be finishing it up before this week is over. I've already clocked 30 hours. That's the time that I put into this game so far. Seems like a lot. It is a lot, but this is a game deserving of a lot of time. So there you go. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching and watching my final thoughts video on Dark Souls. Hopefully you enjoyed the Game of the Week coverage. I know some people were hoping for something different. They were hoping for a Let's Play style, but that's not what this series is. And it's never going to be that. It's going to be me playing these games and then giving you my impressions throughout the course of the week and touching on features that I find interesting, which is what we did here. Alright guys, so thanks so much for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe, and as always, keep watching and keep owning. You know what I'm gonna try here? I'm gonna fiddle around with, I got this crazy axe that people told me I should use. There we go, the Black Knight Great Axe. I guess I got lucky getting the halberd and this axe in the same run. Apparently that's like small percentage chance, but that's what I got, so I don't know. Pretty cool. Attack animation for this thing's pretty sweet. Watch this. Uppercut. Hadouken! Yeah, that's a one-shot kill for that guy. I think we can. Oh no, don't you dare. I'm wearing like the heaviest armor too. Makes me pretty slow and lumbering, but I can absorb a lot of damage, so. And I can dish a lot out. Thank you very much. I'm gonna try a run jump with this thing. No, never mind. Let's go with a lock on, huh? That'd be funny. Oh man. That's really hilarious.